Welcome to the podcast whose name is TBD, which we're going to try and figure out today. Because its name is not TBD.
Who's on first?
What's on second?
I don't know. Okay. We'll workshop it. All right. Okay. It's supposed to bounce back and forth between the two of us.
I know.
I felt like that one just sort of fell flat on the ground.
It did, and that was my fault.
I mean,
I dropped the ball. However, my brain was already working forward into the TBD, what should we call this podcast?
That's a good question.
I remember there was a day I was like, we could call it Ma and her son or something like that. I'm like, but I don't like that because it's too much about me and I don't want the podcast to be about me. But my name and initials are Ma and you are my son. And they were like, we could call it Mason. We're like, but who's Mason? That doesn't make sense.
I don't remember that. I don't think you said that one out loud.
Oh, did I not say it out loud?
No.
I might have said that one in my head.
We're a secret society.
Yeah.
Living underground.
We drink out of jars.
That's right. This podcast, I've secretly been Leonardo da Vinci the whole time.
Right.
He was a Mason, right?
I have no idea.
Okay. This is not a history podcast. Do not take anything we say. We should have a disclaimer.
If you ever want to go on a history tour with Andrew, when we went out to Boston, that was amazing.
Heavy air quotes around history.
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, we saw so many things I didn't realize were in Boston.
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't believe just how connected the world is. Everything is everywhere if you just look hard enough. I
mean, that's fair. I actually believe that could be true.
Maybe.
But you just got to go to your mind's eye.
It's true. Words mean things. I feel like if you say everything's everywhere, that kind of detracts from the meaning of the words everything and everywhere and is. All of the words there.
Okay, let's circle back. Maybe that should be the name of the podcast. Everything is everywhere.
Everything is everywhere. Okay, yes, that's a great transition.
Yeah, I know.
Well
I was
done.
trying to transition
Well
back.
done.
Thank you. High five.
All right. Yeah, everything is everywhere.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know how I feel about that either. It doesn't really have anything to do with what we're doing here.
No. But intentions. I do like intentions.
I like intentions too.
Well, I don't mean as a name. I just mean as it is a big part of
we've got to have a seed to branch off of here when we're coming up with names. Intentions.
That was a big pause. I mean, it wasn't yet, but it is on a podcast. Right?
What?
When people can't see us and there's a pause, it's like, wait, what happened? Did my sound turn off?
Oh, don't worry. We're editing that pause out.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh, are we making it really longer to just mess with people?
Oh, yeah, there we go. We'll even put in the sound of a disconnect of a headphone. The little...
Oh, that's
that
funny. I was thinking dripping water or something. Just or crickets.
Oh, dear. No.
You said something when we were talking about intentions. You said something about intention, out tension, which being a Thai massage therapist, or used to be a Thai massage therapist, I was like, oh, letting out the tension, that's huge, because we put our issues in our tissues, and then we get all tight and tense, and so releasing it is amazing. What? Why did your eyes just get big?
Oh, wait, that's what issues in my tissues meant?
Yeah, what did you think it meant?
You said that earlier. I thought it meant
I don't know where this is going, but I'm afraid right now.
I thought about when you're sad and you cry and you blow your nose in the tissue. You're putting your issues
that works
in your tissues.
Too.
But you mean the tissues of your body?
I mean the tissues of your body. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, it sounds like a Jimmy Buffett lyric.
So I was just on Facebook the other day, a memory came up, and I said, you guys were wearing your Jimmy Buffett t-shirts. And I said, are you sure you really want to wear those to elementary school? And somebody said, I think then I said, well, nobody's going to know who Jimmy Buffett is anyway. And then one of you kids said, yeah, nobody except the history teacher. And I was like, oh my God. I felt so old. I was like, dang, nothing like a kid to just smack you in the face and be like, oh, you're such a dick. Fuck.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, it was so funny. And then there was another one. I actually took a screenshot of this one because I thought we could talk about it. And actually, it's going to circle us back to the everything is everywhere. Oh, this is so funny. So, the this is the dialogue. This is October 25th of 2013.
Okay.
Andrew, Jake, did you see the deer last night? Jake says, no, where? You respond with outside. And Jake says, that's a pretty big place, Andrew. Could you be more specific?
Yeah, that sounds like us. We gotta get Jake on here someday.
We definitely need to get Jake on here.
Like,
so speaking of Jake,
I had this thought. Jake is my brother, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
If Jake was on here, we could call it Jam.
We could call it Jam. The
Jake
podcast Jam.
Jake, Andrew, Michelle. Or Jake,
Yeah.
Andrew, Mom. We never introduced ourselves this episode. It's been a week, Mom. They've forgotten who we are.
They've forgotten who we are?
Yeah.
I'm just going to say I'm Michelle.
I'm Andrew.
We're glad you're here with us.
Yeah.
Even though we can't see you.
But we know you're there.
His eyes just got really big and he's staring into the microphone.
It's because
It was a little creepy if I'm being honest.
for the first time...
Excuse me. Too much laughing makes me cough.
For the first time, I became aware, like, actually consciously aware of this microphone in front of me. And it made me realize how badly I want to bite the felt.
Oh my gosh. You have always been the kid who wants to touch and feel and, like, just explore everything. Remember? Like when we were in the museum in Vietnam and nothing was under glass, nothing was covered, nothing was behind doors. And I was like, I am so glad we are here when you're 18, not when you were 2. And you were like, why? And I was like, because you used to touch everything. And do you remember your response?
And I still fight that urge.
Oh, it's so funny to me.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your brother was not that way.
No, he didn't like...
He's
lima
not
beans
sensory.
in
Was
his mouth.
not. If I would put him like into like long grass or like into a sandbox when he was really little, he would just bring his feet up further and further so they wouldn't touch whatever it was. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, back to the name of the podcast.
Yeah.
Do you think we're actually going to get to a name today?
Jam. I really like
You like
Jam.
But the podcast Jam? But it sounds like we're going to be doing music.
The Jam Quest.
The Jam Quest.
No, I think this is nothing. Jam. Jelly belly.
Moving on.
Moving on. You know, throw spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks.
I think when Jake's there, we can title that episode Jam.
Yeah, there we go. There
Like,
we go.
you know, Jam episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many we do.
Yeah. So last time we talked about TBD and if we could think of a clever acronym
Oh.
for TBD. But
I think of time for T, because that's one of our most valuable resources. I feel like time and energy are our 2 most valuable resources. You can't get them back.
that's true. Energy doesn't start with a B or a D.
I know.
I don't know. Like, so do we want to talk a bit about what we had in mind for like some potentially more structured episodes?
Oh, yeah.
Because what we were thinking is we could sort of find articles online. There's no shortage of articles online that are filled with advice or sort of pop psychology, like principles for like wellness in your life. And they are of varying quality, I would say. So one idea we had was to like pick a few articles and explore, like sort of sort out the good and the bad, whether we agree or disagree with sort of the advice that they're trying to give. So it'd be sort of like a pop wisdom review.
Pop wisdom. I just have noodling going on my head. And then remember that show you guys used to watch that was like, noodle, use your noodle, noodle, do the noodle dance. Do you remember that?
Was that the Wiggles?
Was that PB&J? I think it was
no idea what you're talking
PB&J.
about.
PB and Jelly. I can't remember.
PB and Jam?
Ooh, there you go. We're back to Jam.
Back to Jam.
That was terrible. We're going to have to edit that out. I don't remember the name of the show. I don't remember the point. I just went to noodling because like we're just noodling ideas.
We're noodling
you know?
ideas.
The Noodling Ideas podcast. We could call it NIP. Nope, don't like that.
You don't like NIP?
I do not like NIP.
Oh, but think of the good search engine optimization. Listen, if you want to find
I'm afraid of the logo.
If you want to find our podcast, just go to google.com and type in NIP. Click on images if you want to find our our logo. I'm sure from there you'll be able to find everything.
I don't like it.
Do that.
Nope.
Definitely do it.
Okay, so that's
so
a no.
That's out of there.
What, you said pop, what did you say? Pop wisdom?
Pop wisdom.
Pop wisdom.
We're the wisdom wizards.
I do like magic.
You do like, I like
I
magic.
like magic and intuition and all of those kind of things. And if we talk about our definitions of magic, I feel are two very different things.
That's true. Our
But
perspectives
that
of
also
magic
makes
are very
it,
different.
the magical perspective.
The magical
that sounds
perspective.
so, it's really hard to name something.
It is.
I mean, it was easier to name you kids. How do you feel about your name, Andrew?
It's a pretty good name.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fine. It's good.
Yeah, magic, wizardry.
See, the problem with going like the wisdom route is I don't feel qualified to give people a whole lot of wisdom. Like,
Well,
I don't
yeah.
want that to be the intention of our podcast. Is we're gonna like tell you what to do with your life.
I don't see it so much as we're giving them wisdom. I feel like we're more inviting them to find their own wisdom.
Okay.
So I don't ever feel, I mean, I feel like this might evolve us down another conversation as my son, but I feel like life experience does bring a certain kind of wisdom or some sort of wisdom, and kids don't believe that to be true of their parents. Certainly at certain ages, they're like, yeah, I don't believe anything. And some of it is fair, right? Because times change, and like the wisdom that used to be is no longer, it doesn't apply. Mm-hmm. But I do think like offering and sharing our life experiences, our own version of quote unquote wisdom, which depends on how you define that word, right? Because I don't believe, unless you're enlightened, which, do you know anybody? Like, you know what I mean? There is no such thing.
Well, you're speaking
really.
to
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Let's unpack that one, Andrew. But I'm saying like to invite others to find their own wisdom, because I think our wisdom comes from within. But the other thing I think is that we have, if we learn how to use our intuition and we learn how to like get in and connect spiritually, that's how it ticks for me. That's the words that I use for myself. I feel like we can find more wisdom than we ever believe that we ever had. It's just, and that takes trust over time and a practice to get there. So I get what you're saying about wisdom, but it's not about us giving wisdom or like providing wisdom. It's more about like, let's crack open a door and allow you, like within yourself, and allow you to step into your own wisdom. Mm-hmm. My tagline these days, I was talking to another practitioner and a friend, and we were talking, and I was like, I just don't know like how to describe in a nutshell what I do or how I like to help people. And I said something, and he's like, you just said it. And I was like, said what? And he goes, you just said your thing. And then he repeated it, and I was like, finding your highest self, like finding that space within you that does have the wisdom. And I'm like, yeah, what if we could be limitless? Like we are limitless. We just block ourselves all the time. So I just went on a whole tangent. But that wisdom word is one of those that I'm like you. I hear the word wisdom and anybody declares to be so, I'm like, now you just lost credibility with me. You just lost credibility with me because you're telling me you're wise. And I do think you have some wisdom within you, yes. But if you feel like you have all the answers to all the things, or all the answers to any one thing, I just call bullshit. Because it's been my experience that I could be, here's how I show up, and this is Dan's way of saying it, but I like it, it resonates with me, and that is, I could be absolutely wrong about everything that I know in the now, and I have to be willing to accept that. Mm-hmm. Meaning someone could meet me tomorrow, tell me a thing or explain something or show me something, and I'd be like, that just like blew up my whole other experience and belief system around said thing. So it's fascinating to me.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea of always having an open mind towards like I have this like I do a lot of thinking about like this sort of conversation, especially with like people who you might disagree with, and like how to like talk to people about that without alienating them and actually have a productive conversation, which I make no claims of being good at yet at this point. But like one really good piece of advice or like strategy that I heard is ask someone what it would take to convince them, like hypothetically, just like get them to think hypothetically, and like do this yourself too, think for yourself, what would it take to convince me that I'm wrong here? Because I think that's a really good exercise to like see, or like to sort of put yourself in check, and because if the answer is nothing, then you don't have an open mind about that belief. Like I don't care how much evidence or support or conviction you have about something. There should be I think there should be. I think it is unhealthy to refuse any for there to be no possible way for you to change your mind.
Yeah.
I like that is that's what I love about like the scientific process, for example, because what it is all about is putting forward your best guess, and like a scientific experiment is basically asking the question, what would it take for this idea to be proven right or wrong, right? We set forth a hypothesis. Not every scientific experiment has a hypothesis, but if it does, you set forth a hypothesis. And then this experiment is set up beforehand. Before you do any testing, you ask, okay, what would it take to prove this hypothesis most likely true versus to prove this hypothesis most likely false? And then you run the experiment and see which side or where in the middle it falls on. And that's really important to me, of like being able to think about what could prove you wrong.
I love that. I just, as you're speaking, I like have a download happening about the name of the podcast, and it's not quite right yet.
Oh, good.
But I feel like we can together take it there.
Okay.
Hypothetical thinking, or hypothetically thinking, or hypothetical, like, because you said hypothetical, and I was like, I mean, hypothetically speaking, hypothetically thinking. In other words, there are no absolutes. I have a real hard time with absolutes because I don't believe that's a thing. I mean,
yeah, like
you know?
like in an ultimate sense, it's not a thing.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's helpful to think in
Yeah.
absolutes when
And then-
things are really close to them.
And then when I thought of hypothetical thinking, I'm like, we can't have an O in the middle of that because I don't want people to search hot either.
Are you sure? Oh, but Mom,
What about hat?
the
Or
implicit
hit?
association.
Anyway,
What about hypothetically intentional?
hypothetically intentional. Hypothetically intentional. Wait, we need to be intentional. Well, that's not true. That's not fair. That's like putting people in a need too.
Yeah.
So my point is hypothetically, or hypothetical intention. What'd you say?
Hypothetically intentional?
Hypothetically intentional. Hi. It's the Hi
It's
Podcast.
high. Yeah, exactly.
We're not recording on 420.
I was just gonna say, we could each have a doobie before, or
Is that
in
the
the
words
middle.
these days?
I don't know. Don't ask me, but it sounds like it, right? I think it is. I think a doobie is like a blunt.
You should ask
or
Jimmy
a-
Buffett.
Oh yeah, I think Jimmy Buffett is like selling his own brand of edibles now.
Oh, that makes sense.
I think I've heard that. I don't.
Did
don't
you say
take that with a grain of
hypothetically
salt.
intentional or hypothetical? Wait, I really got to get my head around this. I'm gonna have to rewind. Hypothetically intentional.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like that's a wrap, and then we'll go on. We'll talk about something else next week, or we'll
Okay.
continue the.
Do you like that name?
Yeah, I'm going back and forth between hypothetical intentions or hypothetically intentional because it's a mouthful. But I do like the HI because that's hi. Hi.
Hi.
We can start episode with hi.
Hi. Okay. Well, maybe we can think about it.
That's fair.
I
So
don't
by the
know.
next episode.
By the next
episode, here's how this is going to work. By the next episode, we'll have decided on one, and by the end of the next episode, we'll change it. And then
We'll change our name every week.
And then maybe 3 months in, we'll actually have a name and a logo. But in the now, we're just blank. There's no name. There's no logo. There's no officialness to this.
Mm-hmm.
We are playing with the idea of what having a podcast on the regular might look like. And I don't know about you. I know we're only 2 episodes in, but already I'm loving this time with you. I'm loving sharing our brain space, sharing our heart space. And I'm going to bring in my other favorite tagline as of now, is where logic meets magic. And I'm pointing to my head, where logic, to my heart, magic. Because I very much like where logic meets magic. Because I feel like that is me in a nutshell. Because I used to only be logical. I didn't believe in magical. And now I'm like, both can be true. And it's amazing.
Okay.
Good?
Good.
High five again. Woo!
High five.
Ooh,
HI five.
I like it. See, we're going places. That can be the logo, like us giving each other a high five. I didn't know you were going to hit me. Bye.